but it's where a number of Americans discovered that there were a number of Germans who were unwilling to throw in the towel. Further resistance ended when General Hayes sent a fresh battalion in from behind and surrounded the town. The 10th now fixed eyes on the ridges above and moved in to tackle the Rocca Rufino.
Wir müssen Granatwerfer anfordern. Mensch, die kommen unter unserer Feuerlinie durch.
Ich kann nicht anrufen. Unsere Leitungen sind alle abgeschnitten.
A German corporal remembers what happened next. His name, Horst Kugelmeier.
Unten im Tal sperrte uns ein heftiges Artilleriefeuer den Rückzug ab.
Down in the valley, there was heavy artillery fire, which made it impossible for us to retreat. And in front of us, there were the Americans. We gave in to what was inevitable, threw our weapons away, walked toward the Americans, raised our hands, and did exactly as the pamphlets had told us to do, to surrender. We expected hostile reactions, but, well, one becomes a prisoner of war only once in life. The Americans searched us for weapons, ordered us to sit down, and suddenly, it was rather funny at the moment, there came an American sergeant, and he asked in German where we came from. We said, we are from Munich, and he remarked that he knew Straubing. They offered us cigarettes, and suddenly, all of us were sitting together, Americans and Germans next to each other, and we smoked cigarettes. Our canteen went around. We still had some cognac in it, and I had the feeling that suddenly there was peace.
By nightfall, the Rocca Rufino was secure, but the Germans continued to harass the new arrivals with accurate mortar fire. And so, for some people, the battle ended on a different note.
I was awfully tired that night, and sleepy too. But I think most of all I was thirsty. It had been a hot climb up Rocca Rufino. Dusty, tired, and the water gave out awfully soon. But here it was past midnight, and I was on my way down to pick up replacements. No water in the canteen, nothing to drink. And even though the evening was cool, my throat was parched and thirsty. My legs were giving out. I stumbled the way down. How I ever got there, I'll never know. And the backlight, that eerie light, orange flames licking out of the treetops, out of the little houses. Red flames, too. The whole forest, the whole mountain was dying with that wonderful eerie light. And I was just making my way down, hoping I'd find them, hoping I'd find my way back, without any mines, without any shells, without anybody being hit. Every now and then a gun would go off. Not often. I guess the Germans were tired too. But they would go off once in a while. Not enough to scare me. And then when I found them, and we started the way back, I was even more tired then. More tired. I stumbled forward, up to find my place where we were before. And suddenly, there was nothing. A huge light. A red light. I was enveloped in the light, and I was floating. I was floating on my back, and I was saying to myself, so this is what it's like to be dead. So this is what it's like to be dead. So this is what it's like to be dead. It wasn't bad. Didn't feel a thing. Just floating in the air. Suddenly I landed. I could only tell I landed because it started hurting. I must have landed. And I began to hurt all over. And then the mortar fire began. and the men came running over, leaning over me, hiding me, acting like an umbrella to save me, putting a blanket around me. Even then I began to think, boy, first aid for shock. I didn't care. Just too tired to move. I didn't care what happened.
The division took a great many casualties in breaking through and securing the heights which you see in front of you.
The 10th Mountain Division had finally cleared the last obstacle in its drive to capture the Po Valley below. The Germans, tossed off the Apennines for good, began rolling north in the hope of slowing the Allied advance at 2 river crossings. The first at Bomporto, the other farther north at the town of San Benedetto. It was no secret that the Germans would try to destroy all the bridges. The 10th would attempt to prevent this from happening. Brigadier General Robinson Duff, second in command, was assigned to this mission.
I gave Robbie Duff a battalion of infantry mounted in trucks, some light tanks and reconnaissance units, and told him to bypass any resistance he ran into and move as rapidly as he could down to the Bomporto bridges and capture them intact. I told him never mind the Germans that he ran into, to go around them, that the rest of the division would come along behind and mop them up.
Miraculously, the Germans were outrun. The bridge at Bomporto was captured intact. The rest of the division, racing up from behind, overran so many Germans that for a moment it looked as though the advance might be stopped by the simple burden of figuring out what to do with so many prisoners. General Hayes solved the problem by stationing MPs 10 miles apart. The MPs then waved these war-weary men into hastily erected enclosures. Chaplain Moran, in convoy up at the front, remembers taking part in these proceedings.
Just before we moved from the Apennine Mountains into the Po Valley, I had an unusual and rather rare experience. That is, rare and unusual for a chaplain. I was returning from an aid station with my driver, my Jeep driver, and we're coming down a country lane in this farmyard when suddenly 2 Germans jumped out in front of the Jeep. At first, we thought they were going to engage us in combat, but we noticed that they did not have any weapons. However, one of them did have something that looked like a hand grenade, but on closer examination, we found that it was a can of rations. We came to a sudden halt, of course, and with that, they put up their hands and said the words kaput, meaning they wished to surrender. Unusual as this was, and unfamiliar as I was with this procedure, I, however, put the 2 prisoners in the back of my Jeep and proceeded towards the main road. On the main road, we joined in with the stream of traffic that was going back and forth, and as we went down the road, we noticed a number of soldiers standing on the side, and as other prisoners and other vehicles went by, they made certain remarks to them. Always in a jolly mood, of course, but as I went by with the division chaplain written on my Jeep, I heard one soldier say, with an expletive, "Even the chaplain gets them."
Farther north, however, there